In the previous video, we compared ASX200 ETF and ASX300 ETF underlying company business metrics. And in this video, we're going to compare ASX20 ETF, the ticker code ILC. Because if you do a 5-year unit price comparison, it seems like ILC ASX20 ETF underperformed IOZ and Vanguard VAS. I wonder why. If you go to blackrocks.com and search up ASX ILC, you can find the holdings that this ETF has. And you'll notice that these businesses, this great business, somehow contribute to your life, to our lives. You get your first job in Woolies or Coles. You get your groceries from that as well. You most likely have a home loan or bank account in one of these 4 banks, CBA, NAB. You get some energy from Woodside. And maybe you are into some gambling, gaming stuff with Aristocrat Leisure. And again, we do a similar thing like the previous video. We use the financial results for financial year 2021. And just a recap, we found the similarities between market cap to the profit after tax comparison between the two ETF. And I'm not saying this video to become a financial advice to comparing which ETF is better or that ETF is worse than this one, but just to give you informational and hopefully educational to you. So here it is. This is the financial results of the top 20 companies in ASX. It may not be 100% accurate, but it is close enough. And again, this is not projection for the future growth and so on. This is just to give you a general idea about the differences between the top 20 companies and top 200 and top 300 companies in ASX according to Standard & Poor's S&P. So we have the total market capitalization for the top ASX 20 companies of about $1.5 trillion, which is lower than ASX 200 of $2.7 trillion and VAS ASX 300 ETF of about $2.8 trillion. Skip ahead on the total revenue. These top 20 companies are very profitable because they handle a revenue as big as $509 billion. And if you compare it with ASX 200 with $1.03 trillion of revenue and ASX 300 $1.08 trillion revenue, seems like these top 20 companies contributes a lot, at least 50%. And out of that $509 billion of revenue, these top ASX 20 companies generate a profit after tax about $115 billion. Just a rough calculation, that is at least a profit margin of 20%. Sounds like good business, right? And the dividends being paid out from these top ASX 20 companies is about $70 billion for financial year 2021. And if we work out the price to earning ratio for the financial 2021 financial results and also the market capitalization for August 2021, the PE ratio is about 13. Lower PE ratio compared to ASX 200 and ASX 300 could also mean that the denominator, that these top 20 companies generated a lot of profits, but it could also mean the lower projected growth for these top 20 companies because there's a risk as well. What if the commodity price crash? If we do further comparison of market capitalization to the total dividends being paid out, which is lower than ASX 200 and ASX 300. So obviously, although the past 5 years, it seems like ILC unit price has underperformed ASX 200 and ASX 300, but just by looking at the 2021 results, the dividends, the distributions of the ETF could be higher. And if you think about it again, maybe that's why we care so much on commodity price when there is a financial section on TV. And especially they're talking about iron ore price, oil, copper, and gold, because this commodity price really affects the revenue of the top 20 companies. And also notice that the top 20 companies consist of the big 4 banks. Now, this is the comparison between ILC and VAS underlying holdings for 2021. So you can't use this as a projection. Because some people may be interested, oh, what are we missing out for not diversifying for the top 300 companies? Is it better to be more diversified? I don't have the exact answer for that, But most people, most fund managers will tell you, oh, you got to diversify. You got to diversify. But I'm just giving you the facts that I found. And you can come to this conclusion yourself as well if you go through all the annual reports yourself. So if we look at the difference, for example, the market capitalization, the top 20 companies give a total market capitalization about 1.5 trillion. And if you subtract that with total market capitalization from ASX20 VAS of 2.8 trillion, it's about $1.2 trillion difference. So you have these 20 companies, if you add up all of the market capitalization, comes to 1.5 trillion, and the rest 277 companies have like 1.2 trillion. These 20 companies, each of them must be very valuable, right? And also after doing the comparison between ASX200 and ASX300 and ASX20, it seems like if an investor doesn't know a lot who's going to be the winner, the most profitable companies, what this investor trying to get is that they just want to let the capitalism do its work and let the most profitable company increase in value, increase in market capitalization, so that they will be included in the top 200 companies or top 20 companies. Because there's some point back then, aristocrat leisure wasn't there. Maybe back in the 90s, even FMG wasn't there. Somehow, now in 2022, the top 20 companies are Big Four banks, BHP, Rio Tinto, FMG, Woolworths, Coles, and Aristocrat Leisure. And that's it for today. I hope you find this informational and useful. Thank you.